Fano and welcome. My name's Howard and this is Gardening on the Kaipara. Okay Fano, so here we are, it's July, midwinter. Beautiful day today, but traditionally July for us we get quite a few really bad storms that come through. From either side really, because we've got the coast on that side, 25 minutes away in the car, and the coast here 25 seconds away on foot. So yeah, we can get some pretty good winds coming through. We don't get that kind of usual winters that they get down the line. We don't get snow or frost or anything horrible like that, so I can't complain at all. But yeah, the wind really does pick through here, so we need to be mindful of that during the month. Jobs that we've got for this month, well, I want to really crack on with the seating area this month, try and get that as finished as possible. Feels quite daunting at the moment, there's a lot to be done. And then planning for the year ahead. I'm excited, I've got some seeds on order. Never really done that before, only ordered like 1 or 2 packages before. This time big bumper amount, so that's exciting. And generally trying to get the plot organized for the spring really, get some seeds going, things like that. So without further ado, let's just get into it because there's a lot to get done. Okay, Fano, so a bit of a miserable day outside, so not really doing much in the way of gardening. But what has happened is I've had a big delivery of seeds come in from the seed companies. Now, this is something I've never really done before. I've maybe bought the odd seed packet here and there. But this time we've gone big and basically I've ordered in all of the seeds for the whole season. Now, I have to say we thought about this once, twice, 3 times, maybe even 4 times, because it's a lot of money to outlay in one go. And also you've got to hope that you're going to be able to grow the seeds. And as you know, I've not been that successful with that over the last wee while. However, even with all of that, when I worked it out, it's actually probably 2 years of seeds that we've got here. So then you half it for 1 year. And with the number of seeds that you get, it worked out about $3.20 a packet, which is still way cheaper than anything you can get in the Bunnings or the nurseries or whatever. So it seemed like a good thing to do. So I thought I'd just run through them all now, because often when I'm planting out, I'll just say, oh, I'm planting carrots here, or these are beetroot. And often people want to know what are the actual varieties that I'm actually planting. So I thought, put this in here now, so you can always come back to this one, and I can always reference it in due course. So starting off at the beginning, these are eggplant seeds. And the first thing I've got here are beans, climbing cobra beans and dwarf French top crop beans. So both basically French beans. The cobra were recommended by Jesse on plot 37. I grew them for the first time last year. They were fantastic. As a climbing bean though, they do tend to get a bit blasted with the wind here, so I'm figuring I'll grow the cobra first, and quite early, and then the dwarf beans in the second half of the summer. Hopefully get a crop out of each of those that way. Next up, spring onions, because I always keep going to try to grow spring onions and failing. 2 lots of beetroot. We like beetroot a lot. So we've got bull's blood and then a rainbow blend. I really like the golden beetroot, but I also wanted a bit of variety, so that's why we went for that. And bull's blood, bog standard. Swede. This is a bit of a nod to my old fella, actually, my old man. He used to make Swede and carrot mash with the roast dinners, and it was very evocative for me. I was kind of keen to give that a try. Carrots all season, and then tomato soprano. I was thinking of growing the San Marino this year instead of the Roma, but when I looked in the catalogue about the differences between the different varieties, this one seemed to just feel like it would be a bit better for where we are here. So keen to give that a try. Eggplant. This one's Black King F1 hybrid. I had a bit of success with the eggplant last year in terms of the plants, but in terms of the fruit, I didn't really know that much about them. They didn't seem to get very big, and then when I did harvest them, they were very bitter, probably because I'd left them on the plant too long. So different variety, hopefully a different result. Lettuce, 2 lots of lettuce. This one's Kaiser, kind of a bog standard green lettuce. This one, Drunken Woman, is pellets, and you only get 70 in the packet. But I was keen to give these a try, because if all 70 come up, then that's probably better value, because you know you can just put 1 in each cell and it will grow, rather than a whole load of them and transplanting 6 or 7. So thought I'd give that a try to see how that was. So 2 types of melon, watermelon, Charleston Grey. I was really keen to try something a bit different this year. Last couple of years we've done Golden Gold, which has been great, and Moon and Stars, which has been alright, I think. So I was keen to give something else a bit of a try. So we've gone for Charleston Grey, which is supposed to be a big, reliable American melon, and then a rock melon. Courgette, Black Beauty. We love courgettes, and hopeful for this one. Cucumber, Tasty Green. Want to get these going as soon as possible so we can get them going into the polytunnel. This is Tasty Green F1 Hybrid. And the pumpkins, so I've been growing something, I don't know whether it was an J.Cocker or something like that in terms of pumpkin for the last couple of years, which is kind of a small bright orange one. They look great and they taste really nice, but I was looking for something to try and up the productivity, so I thought I'd give this one a try. It's a pumpkin crown F1 hybrid, which is pretty standard pumpkin, but you get them and they can get really big, so hoping that quantity will be the watchword with that one. Onto the brassicas. So my plan with the brassicas is that the long bed behind the polytunnel, I'm going to just make that entirely a brassica bed from now on and cover it all the way through the year with netting. At the moment I'm kind of taking netting up and taking it down, and it's a bit of a faff. So figured if I just make that one long bed entirely brassica, then I can just have it set up permanently. So Marathon broccoli F1, it's a bog standard but highly reliable. Summer cut cabbage, the Savoy cabbage that we've been growing has been fantastic. I think I'm going to save that for the winter. I'm a bit worried about things bolting, so I figured if I went for the summer cut that might be okay. Cauliflower all year round. Again, pretty standard. Wanted to make sure it didn't bolt, so that's why I went with that. Some seeds of Cavolo Nero. We are just loving the Cavolo Nero. The 6 that we've got in the ground I bought as plugs because I couldn't find the seeds anywhere in the garden centres, and then I found some in Bunnings, but they were like $6 or something. And I was like, oof. So black Cavolo Nero. And then finally, Brussels sprouts. Not sure whether these are going to be any good. They tend to prefer a bit of a colder part of the season. I'm not sure we get that here, but we'll see how we get on with those. So those are all from Egmont seeds. And then, as an aside to that, I got a few seeds also from King's seeds. Mostly tomatoes because they had some more unusual ones there. Now I have saved some tomato seeds from last year. There's a black cherry one that we're going to use again, and the green zebra, which in salads tasted not much of anything, but as soon as you cooked it up, wow, that was fantastic. So we're definitely going to grow those two. And then black krim, which I've grown for 7 or 8 years now and has always been fantastic. I love black krim. It's probably one of my favourite big tomatoes. Always reliable, really great taste on there. So we're definitely going to be growing those, and definitely growing the yellow pear. But I wanted to try some different things, as you always do. So this one is an ananas noir. This one is supposed to have the most amazing taste, so I'm really keen to try that. Chef's Choice Bicolor F1. It's a big kind of yellowy orange tomato with a somewhat tropical taste is the claim. And then what was the darling of the allotment world in Britain probably 2-3 years ago, Brad's Atomic Grape. I've been looking for this since then, and we've not had it over here that I can see. So I was really pleased to see that this was up for sale in King's. Funnily enough though, last year in England, a lot of the people who were growing it were like disappointed with it, and they're like, I don't think we'll grow this again. But some did note that it was a really bad year generally, and most of the tomatoes didn't have much taste. So I don't know if they were being a bit harsh on it, but I thought really keen to give that a try myself. And then a couple of other things, some spare carrots, nothing special about those, just some spare carrots. And this is Cosmos Rubenza. So these are a kind of a deep red colour. And I'm keen to put these in the border with the standard roses. It's a pretty exposed site, and last year I tried to grow some zinnias there and they didn't really work. So I'm hoping this year Cosmos might do a little bit better in putting some colour in that bed. So there we go. Lots of seeds. Very excited about the season to come now and trying all of these. Let's hope they actually germinate rather than my usual lack of success. Okay, let's get back to work. So there we go. That's the end of July. It's a sunny day today, but don't be fooled. We've had some pretty bad wind come through and it's done a bit of damage around the place. I'm going to do the plot tour now and I'll show you a bit of that. And also my back's been done in for the last couple of weeks, so not been able to get as much done as I wanted, which is really frustrating. Anyway, be that as it may, some things are doing pretty well. So let me show you those. So starting off with the tomatoes, which as you can see are doing pretty good. We're getting a good handful of these every couple of days and that keeps us going, and that's saving us a good amount at the supermarket. Maybe about $8–9 a time, I would say. And then on this side, lavender is coming along nicely. There's actually roots coming out of the bottom of these pots now, so I'm going to be popping these into the garden soon. Zinnias, ones on the left here, I grew from home saved seed. So these are wine coloured, and then early wonder of the rest. Also some calendula, quite a lot of calendula. They have been struggling a little bit here in the polytunnel on sunny days. On sunny days it's actually getting up to 40 degrees in the polytunnel here, so pretty warm. A bit of parsley, curly parsley, more zinnias, sweet peas, and these are some bok choy coming through here. So overall, a much better start than I've been having lately with seeds, and hopefully we're going to continue with that. Down here next to the tomatoes, rose cuttings. We took maybe 50 cuttings of roses all up. We've got 2 that have made it. Maybe not the greatest success rate, but at the same time that's 2 free David Austin roses right there. So anything is a win when it comes to that. So looking down the veggie garden, we're still looking a bit windswept at times. I think we'll start at the top and work our way back down to the polytunnel. So starting with the carrot bed, just a few carrots left in this bed now. All of the ones that I had sown and would keenly come up have all been slugged off. So there's nothing else in this bed, and that means that I'm probably going to switch this bed around with it. So this is currently just got some radishes coming in, and I've planted in some strawberry plants. And I'll probably shift them strawberry plants over to the carrot bed. I've been diligently taking the flowers off all of the strawberries. I was told that that would make a better crop for the summer, because it encourages them to put new growth on now. And you can see there's quite a lot of new growth coming in on them, which is pleasing. I've also filled in the gaps where some of them hadn't made it. I think the asparagus bed, I don't know if you can just see, but we've got one asparagus tip coming through here. Nothing else showing at the moment. Beyond, beans took a big battering in the winds. I've just put a little bit of a support there. I'm not sure if that's going to be sufficient enough, but they seem to have perked up a little bit. No signs of any beans on them at the moment. Moving up to the next beds, the tomato experiment. Well, a few of them are giving up the ghost, but this one in the middle is still going, still trying to put out tomatoes, none of which have been particularly brilliant yet. I don't know whether I'll do this next year or whether we'll use the bed for something more productive. The second onion bed, again this got really battered the other week. They were all lying flat and it was a bit of a worry, but they're all perked up, and so that's encouraging. Most of the marigolds that have been down the sides have all gone now, just a couple hanging on. Up to the next bed, and the cabbages, you can see that we've picked first line. We've got another line still left to go. Up to the next set of beds, and the cavallinera still being an absolute trooper, harvesting that every couple of days. It's just been brilliant. Bok choy seems to be going quite slowly at the moment, and in The corner here, the Italian parsley that I've just let come through again. Silver beet continues to just give and give. I was thinking this purple one at the top, I think that's been in there for over a year. Peas took quite a while to get going, beginning to get going now. Need to be just tied in, I think. But overall, the peas that we've had this year so far have been excellent. Swinging round to the garlic bed, as you can see, they're all coming along nicely. And the onion bed beyond. This is the first onion bed, so this was done probably 3 or 4 weeks earlier than the second onion bed. And you can see they're just so much thicker. The year before I had these all netted, and that gave them a lot of protection from the wind, but I think it inhibited their bulbing up because I think it stopped some of the light getting in. And so this year I'm trying it without, see whether they cope with the exposure to the wind, whether they bulb up a bit more. So the top of the next lot of beds, and this one again suffered a bit in the wind. In here we've got cauliflower. They are just taking their time. However, they did get quite a bit of slug pressure, so that might have inhibited them. As with the other beetroot in the other bed, these seem to be all leaf and no root, so not much good at the moment. And some thinned out carrots on the other side. This is the sugar snap peas, and we've had a really good crop off them. I think I've probably got about 1 kilo of those in the freezer. Bit of spinach that I transferred from the other bed here. Again, just doesn't seem to be thriving very much at the moment. The original beetroot bed is just hanging on, just on the verge of clearing it all out. And as you can see, I've cleared the peas from the fence. I'll probably put in another sowing of peas in here. I think I might be able to get them out before the summer. Leeks beyond, some of them are doing okay, some are looking a bit thin. Don't know what that's about. Very mixed, really. First of the long beds by the pony tunnel, and you can see the 3 rosemary plants there are now really starting to establish well. I'm going to shift 2 of them down to the seating area at some point soon. Second lot of broad beans. These are probably 6 weeks behind the other ones, and hopefully give me a bit of a succession sowing. The lettuce, just so beautiful, looks amazing. I'm not sure if it's quite picking it up on all of the, I'm not sure if it's picking up all the colours on the camera, but it looks stunning. And the David Austin rose here, been flowering despite the weather, which is an impressive trick. And so moving to the second long bed by the polytunnel, and the rhubarb is doing all right. It's beginning to thrive. So I'm hopeful that that's going to keep putting on some more growth. Okay, so back to the long bed. I don't know if you can pick up just here, we've got another rhubarb plant that we picked up cheap at the warehouse just for a couple of bucks. So that's been popped in just to see whether we can get that to establish itself. I don't think these are all going to stay here long term, because this bed is now designated as the brassica bed, and I take all of these things out and just having it devoted to brassicas. So there we have the veggie patch. Not an awful lot of work's happened on it this month, as I say, because of other things. Okay, so a quick look at the new roses that have gone in, and I think you can see that they've actually put on a lot of growth already, which is really good. They're happy where they are, and I think they're going to look amazing there. And looking at the other replacement new rose down there, you can see that that's also doing pretty well. Just take you down to look at the lavender, which was really hard pruned, but I think you might be able to just pick up there now that it's already sprouting out new growth. Okay, so up to the new area. Kind of calling it the Italian seating area because that's our influence, but it sounds rather grand, doesn't it? But I think you get a sense of what we're trying to do here. I'm pretty pleased with how it's looking, I have to say. These pots are what I did my back in, just in case you were wondering. Yeah, they're pretty heavy pots. Still quite a bit of work to get done on it. But overall, pleased with how it's looking. And so coming down the garden towards the chickens, and that was the chicken run. And it ended up about half a kilometre down that way, over a couple of fences. So we've had to do a bit of a shifty round. So the ladies are temporarily in this space here, which isn't ideal for them. And we need to have a new run erected here, which hopefully will be a bit more sturdy from the winds. I don't know if you can see, but the fruit trees, I'm taking the surrounds away from them now. They were supposed to stop the couch grass from encroaching, but they didn't really do that. But what I have done is invested in these tree collars, and that's helped to be able to trim them close up without damaging the bark of the actual trees. And actually, I think it's looking pretty good. I don't know if you can pick this up very well on the camera. Actually, all of the fruit trees now are just coming into bud. So we gave them the first spray with apple cider vinegar the other day, just to try and get on top of any disease beforehand. You can see the leaves are just beginning to come through, particularly on the plum tree. The Billington has already got just a hint of flowers coming through. So this is the Billington here with the flowers coming on. And I'm quite hopeful that these plum trees particularly might do really well this year. Just looking at the size of the trunk when I was putting the collars on, and they're actually pretty big. They're pretty big, so I'm thinking this year they could really take off. So this pear tree didn't thrive very much at all last year, and I was a bit worried that it would just die off during the winter, but I can see quite a few healthy looking buds on it. So I'm hoping that that will start to really put on some good growth this year and make sure it gets itself established. I think the orchard's looking alright. I've got some big hopes for it this year. So there we go, Fano. That's the end of the plot tour. That's the end of July. I hope you've enjoyed a little tiki tour around. I'll see you next time when continue on trying to get that Italian garden finished. Also need to get something in for the chickens. Want to get some seeds underway, things like the peppers, things like aubergines, things like cucumbers, lots of those kind of early veggies. Want to get those underway that take a bit longer to grow. Courgettes, of course. Wow, what would summer be like without courgettes? So want to get all of that underway and get some things growing in the veggie plot. And so until next time, I'll say take care, hare ra, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.